Let's talk about Dave Filoni for a second. I'm old enough to remember that most of the Star Wars fans loved Dave Filoni. He was George Lucas's heir, basically. He was the one who gave us the Clone Wars series. He's the one who gave you The Mandalorian, which a lot of Star Wars fans love. At least they used to. But now it seems like trendy to hate Dave Filoni for some reason. Probably because he said some positive things about Rian Johnson, arguably the most controversial person ever to be involved with Star Wars. A lot of people blame him for dividing the fandom, ruining any potential hope for the sequel trilogy, and thus Disney Star Wars in general. But just because Dave Filoni had something nice to say about him doesn't mean he agreed with The Last Jedi or the entire Disney sequel trilogy. It just means Dave's a nice guy. But some of y'all are out here saying, "I've always hated Dave Filoni, and now you see the truth." Like you were some sort of a prophet or something. Nobody knows Star Wars lore better than Dave Filoni, and nobody has been more consistent with Star Wars lore and story than Dave Filoni. Remember when he was supposed to save Star Wars from Kathleen Kennedy? But now y'all just want to hate on him because he said something nice about Rian Johnson? Or perhaps because during a conversational interview, he said that Luke wasn't really a Jedi, even though he was trained by Jedi, because they were comparing him to Grogu and all this other stuff. I don't think Filoni denies that Luke Skywalker is a Jedi. Filoni even said once that Luke Skywalker was more along the lines of Qui-Gon Jinn. You know, the Jedi that pretty much the entire Star Wars fandom agrees was one of, if not the best Jedi. So don't act like you're some sort of trendsetter because you suddenly hate on Dave Filoni, when he hasn't really given reason for us to hate him as a fandom. If anything, he's the one who's kept Disney Star Wars somewhat in check and not completely off the rails. At least for part of it, anyway. And for the record, I'm not a big fan of Disney Star Wars.